Hey, this is Stacy from Let's Cook Y'all. Welcome back to our channel. If you're new, welcome. We're really glad you're here. We're back with a new week of What's for Dinner. We are continuing to stay home and stay safe, and I am cooking up a storm from my pantry, fridge, and freezer. We've got a couple of extra bonuses for you guys this week, and one recipe that we absolutely love that is now in our permanent rotation. Hope you get some ideas for meals at your house, and that you have a truly blessed day. Since the middle of March, I've only been to Walmart once, and I haven't been to Kroger. There was not a lot of meat in Walmart, even though I have a fair amount in my freezer. I did find one package of ground chicken, so I knew what I wanted to make with that. This is a recipe that we've shared on our channel before for an Asian lettuce wrap, which is like a knockoff from P.F. Chang's. I split the pound of meat and used a half a pound this night for lettuce wraps. I'll leave a link to this recipe. I've made this many times using all different kinds of protein. I've used ground chicken, ground beef, ground pork. I've used the veggie crumbles, and I've even used leftover teriyaki type chicken. I just didn't brown the chicken to begin with, but I browned the meat and added some diced onions, some carrots, which was not in the original recipe, but I like it for a little extra crunch. Then after those were translucent and cooking, I started adding the rest of the ingredients. Things like rice wine vinegar, some ginger and garlic, and I just used bottled because that's all I had, and some seasonings. This can be as spicy as you want it. I'm a spice wimp. If you guys have been here before, I just use a little dash of sriracha, and it uses a fair amount of hoisin sauce, which I realize most people don't keep on hand, but I cook a lot of Asian food, so that's something I always have in my pantry. Thank you, Lainey Daney. This is the last of it. We appreciate it. And here's the main reason I chose lettuce wraps. I have this beautiful Bibb lettuce from a CSA box, and I was able to find that ground chicken at Walmart, so winner, chicken dinner. Asian chicken lettuce wraps using half pound of the meat. That will be enough for us for dinner and probably me for lunch tomorrow. I love these. Tim is not quite as fond of them, and that will be a good lunch for me using some of the local lettuce. The sides are very non-traditional. Never ever did I ever think that I would serve squash with an Asian type meal, but I'm now operating under the rule of first in, first out, or more likely what I'm trying to do is use things that are more perishable first that come into the house. There's some things like potatoes that have a longer shelf life. So, very unusual pairing, but Asian lettuce wraps, sauteed squash, and some pineapple. Apparently it's a very yellow kind of meal. Is what's for dinner tonight. I'll show you a picture of my plate. So I took out the other half of that ground chicken and made a mess. I don't know what's been going on lately. I don't know if you've noticed. I've been spilling things and getting meat stuck on the side. I've just been a klutz lately with everything going on. If you're a viewer or subscriber that's watched here before, you know that I like to make my own sauces, salad dressings, and mixes. Now is the time that I'm really glad I already had some homemade taco seasoning as well as some ranch seasoning on hand, and I will leave links to both of those recipes on our website. This is my knead it twice, chop it once setup. Sorry for the camera work. I needed some red onion to make a salad and also to make some guacamole. I had a fresh avocado. I used to cut an avocado in half, take the pit out, and then take a spoon and scoop out the insides. And I've decided lately I've been liking peeling it, mostly because there's some left inside, and I push it off with my finger and usually stick it in my mouth because I love and adore avocados. They're even better in guacamole, but I try not to make it as often as I could because I do add things like mayonnaise and sour cream. But here I'm chopping once for two different dishes. So here's the aforementioned ranch seasoning mix. I just mix it up and keep it in my refrigerator. That way I can make a dip or a dressing whenever I need. I needed a little bit of ranch salad dressing for the Mexican side salad, so I used some mayonnaise, a little bit of milk, some lime juice and cumin, which makes it a little more Mexican-y. And I just taste and adjust as I go. I don't measure anymore. And now I'm making the guacamole. We actually have, oddly enough, a video on how I've made guacamole in the past. We've got a lot of people that requested it. I like a very creamy guacamole and not a very spicy one, although I do use some cayenne pepper and some hot sauce along with some other seasonings and some cut up red onion if I've got it. We are having tacos tonight, so I took 1 avocado, used most of it to make some homemade guacamole that we'll have with chips. I put the rest in a salad with lettuce, cheese, olives, and red onion. I mixed up a really quick Mexican ranch using my homemade ranch mix that I keep in the refrigerator, and added cumin and lime juice to give it a little Mexican flair. The other half of the chicken that we will put in tortillas with toppings, and some black beans. I'll show you a quick picture of our plates, but that's what's for dinner tonight. Tim, oddly enough, likes taco meat in a sandwich on white bread with mayonnaise, but that's not my thing, so I decided to once again experiment with my air fryer. I made a little boat out of foil, put chips on the bottom, some of the leftover taco meat, and some toppings, sprinkled some cheese on top, and then air fried it until everything was hot and melty, and it was delicious for my lunch. Tonight's dinner is something new, but to go with it, I needed a little ranch dip rather than salad dressing, so I got my same ranch seasoning mix out and also used some mayonnaise and a little bit of milk, just a lot less milk to make it thicker and not a pourable consistency like dressing. About to put some frozen french fries in my air fryer, one of our favorite things to do. I'm going to leave a poll up in the top right. We're eating a lot more sandwichy type things and either chips or fries on the side. I don't know if that's a comfort food thing, so vote in the poll if that's something that you're doing, or just scaling down your meals altogether. But I've never noticed, I usually buy the Kroger brand, I don't usually buy the Great Value Walmart brand. I did not know that they had air fryer instructions on them. But the last time I bought the Kroger thick cut steak cut fries, I made a note in my document, which we leave linked in every video, of the times and temperatures of things that we cook in our air fryer. I cook the thicker fries at 400, not 360, and I cook them for 18 to 20 minutes, not 12 to 13. So I'm going to start with this one, but I think it's going to take a lot longer and I will probably crank up the heat. Trying out a new recipe. Mostly I've been cooking things that I know how to cook and that are comforting. I do have 8 ounces of mushrooms, but I'm actually going to be a little chintzy and only use about 4 ounces because, frankly, I'm not going to get back to the store again for a while and I don't want to use all of my mushrooms in one recipe. So if this doesn't come out, it will probably be because I cut the mushrooms in half. But let's get started with this one. I love the name of the website, and I'll leave a link to it. It's from the website dinnerthendessert.com. I don't always follow directions like I'm supposed to. You're supposed to put the meat in and let it develop a deep, dark crust before you start breaking it up. Obviously, I didn't do that, but it still came out okay. I do believe a cast iron pan is essential for this recipe though. I'm continuing to let the ground beef try to brown. The recipe was real specific about trying to develop a deep crust on at least half of it. In the meantime, my air fryer just kicked off, and I'm pretty sure that Walmart Great Value doesn't know what they're talking about. We're going to check their time directions. I'm sure air fryers can be different, but we like ours a lot crispier and browner than that. I was pretty sure that the 360 for 12 to 13 minutes wasn't going to be enough, so I'm going to put them back at 400 and probably check them at about 4 or 5. The recipe called for butter, but I'm too lazy to get it out of the refrigerator, so we're going to go with canola oil. Oops, changed my mind. Went and got some butter out of the refrigerator just in case it needed it for the flavor. I didn't get out my measuring spoons. I just eyeballed the ketchup and the Worcestershire, added some salt and pepper. I did mix up 1 cup of beef broth with 1 tablespoon of cornstarch and added that in sections at the end to help thicken it up before adding the cheese. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, I'm checking the fries in the air fryer, adding more time, and now the last part of this meal is to add some cut up slices of provolone cheese. New recipe. I think it's going to be a keeper. It is probably a little chewy. I had the cheap provolone, not the good stuff. Chewy. It's a little cheesy, but I don't actually think that's a bad thing. Philly cheesesteak sloppy joes, just on buns with some fries. And I fixed us a little crudité, just some raw vegetables and that ranch dip that I made. So I'm going to make up my plate, show you a picture. We'll leave a comment if this is a keeper or not. That's what's for dinner tonight. Lurking in my freezer was a 1-pound ball of pizza dough that I got out and thawed. I did put it on a jelly roll pan. I wish afterwards that I had gotten out my pizza stone. I think the crust would have been a little crisper. I also got some pizza sauce out of the freezer. I have a very easy recipe that's on our website. It just uses canned tomato sauce, canned tomato paste, and some seasonings. And I loaded it up. This is the reason I saved the other half of the mushrooms and didn't put them all in the Philly cheese sloppy joes. And we put 2 kinds of cheese on it and some Italian seasoning. I did not use the whole can of chopped olives on the pizza, so this is a dip I used to make years ago for football games. I would use an entire block of cream cheese. I put it in a glass Pyrex or pie plate, and I would layer on salsa, olives, and cheddar cheese, and either bake this in the oven until everything was warm and melty and gooey, or this time I just did it in a bowl and put it in the microwave about 1.5 minutes till it was nice and warm. Gonna see how the pizza tastes. We have been snacking on the dip. Tim ate his half, maybe a little bit of mine. Did you eat part of my dip?
You just put a lot on your chip.
I did. Pizza is what's for dinner tonight. I made pancakes using the last of my Kodiak mix from the pantry, and I asked him to fix his plate. He left me one of each. So pancakes and bacon is what's for dinner tonight. Apparently one of us is going to eat a lot of pancakes, and the other one of us...
You can splurge.
I can have one of each. One of us is going to have something else. That's what Tim's is having for dinner tonight.
Yum, yum.
The one thing I have not tried in my air fryer is bacon, so if someone that has an air fryer, a basket style, has done it, leave me a comment with the time and the temperature you did bacon. I just keep doing it on the stove for whatever reason. Since I used up all the Kodiak mix the night before making that huge stack of pancakes for Tim, he didn't have any left for breakfast, so I had some Bisquick in the pantry, and rather than using all of my fresh dairy milk from the refrigerator, we're trying not to go to the store very often, I did find this non-fat draw milk powder in my pantry, so I doubled the recipe on the back of the box for the waffles, so it required 2 2/3 cups of milk. I made powdered milk for 2 cups of that and finished it off with 2/3 of dairy milk just to test it out, and it worked really well. I have a Cuisinart griddler, and I swapped out my regular grill plates for these waffle iron plates. I spray the top and the bottom of my plates and pour the mix in there, and they worked really well. So until I run out of Bisquick and the powdered milk mix, I will be trying to substitute the powdered mix for some of the milk in some of my baking. Do I have a taste tester?
Yes.
Well, it's an experiment using the powdered milk, which if things get desperate, we may have to mix up the powdered milk for you to drink. I should have let you taste it.
That's exciting.
It is exciting. They're probably not going to be quite as rich, but the verdict is...
No, they really good.
They're okay during a pandemic.
They're really
They'll do
good.
really good. Well, you're sweet. So waffles using Bisquick and mostly powdered milk instead of all whole milk.
To go along with my egg and bacon.
Oh, somebody's got a feast this morning for breakfast.
And now I gotta get some milk.
I'm gonna have
Everything
oatmeal.
will be right in this world.
I'm gonna have oatmeal. Yours looks better.
It will be.
Thanks so much for stopping by and watching. Hope everyone is healthy and staying safe. Have a wonderful and truly blessed day, y'all.